Welcome to a Tiredsammich solo movie review.
Hello. Hello. This is the second episode of Tired Sandwich's solo reviews, in which we are going to do The Northman. So, The Northman was a movie with Alexander Skarsgård, uh, and the plot premise based off IMDb is a young Viking prince is on a quest to avenge his father's murder. So, I watched this movie about a week ago, and the director of the movie is Robert Eggers, who also did The Witch and Lighthouse. I never watched The Lighthouse. I did watch The Witch. It was pretty good. So he does a lot of like um, like old time movies kind of things, and does them very well in I don't know, historical kind of backdrop. I don't know what the word would be. Um, and he was also one of the writers on the story, and Sir John was the other writer. Um, so the Northman follows um, our main character, Almleth. Amleth. I forget how they said his name, and I'm probably butchering it. But yeah, A follows A through his journey from boyhood to manhood, uh, in which a tragedy happens, and then we get to see his quest for revenge. Now, this movie, when I was going into it, I thought, it's going to be interesting because I like Vikings. It seemed more historical type um, Vikings than the usual, and it seemed like had a lot of big players in it. Ethan Hawke's in it, Nicole Kidman, uh, Anna Taylor Joy, Anya Taylor Joy, William Dafoe. That was one of the things that really made me want to see it was William Dafoe. I love Willem Dafoe. I said his name wrong, but Willem. Willem Dafoe is a great actor. Um, Everything I've seen Willem Dafoe, and even Death Note, even the was a don't even want to talk about Death Note. He did well. Um, so it seemed like it was going to be a great movie, and a lot of the plot in it was very interesting. It didn't put me to sleep. I never got bored watching it, but it just was. It was kind of like a middling movie. I didn't think it was bad necessarily, but I didn't think it was great. It didn't have me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I'll talk more about it in the spoilers of how I felt and what happened in it when we get to that portion. But for right now, the main question is: would I recommend this to people? And the answer is yes. If you like movies like The Lighthouse, The Witch, or any of this director's type of movies, you'll probably enjoy this. Maybe more than I did. Um, it's a very in I mean I don't want to I can't say it without spoiling it, but you know, the movie was made well. The characters were believable. The story was believable. The 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 um catch at the end or whatever the reveal is not it kind of cracked me up more than like, oh, that's a cool reason. So overall, though, the movie is good. I enjoyed watching it. I don't regret buying it. I bought it on Vudu when it was on sale. You can find it on Vudu or Amazon. It may be on another platform right now. I'm not very sure. Um, but I do know that you can buy it on that. Um, Apparently, the what was it? The film title and in Terrates, I don't know, appear in ancient Norse, not North, Norse ruins. Again, it's only my second video, guys. So, um, yeah. Um, so the taglines for this is "Conquer Your Fate." It's an action, adventure, drama, fantasy, history thriller. It is rated R, so there's some sexuality and nudity. And so before we get into spoilers, the storyline as written on IMDb, because that's most of these, I'll probably read that as the storyline beat because it's easier than making it myself. Um, was a prince, I'll say it again. A young prince, Viking prince, is on a quest to avenge his father. All right. So, yes, I would say watch it if you like those movies. If you don't, maybe when it comes out on like Netflix or something, watch it. And it's definitely worth a watch. I don't know if you'll like it. Some of it's very interesting, some of it's not. But yeah, let's get to spoilers. Spoiler, 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 spoiler. Spoiler, spoiler. Okay. I'm gonna give you guys like 2 seconds. All right. If you're here, then you're okay with being spoiled. And you watch the movie, or you just don't care. That's fine, because I do that all the time. I watch stuff all the time, and even if it has spoilers, I don't really care. So, this movie starts off with the main character's father, Ethan Hawke, King Ardeville Warraven, coming back from a battle or a fight or a war or whatever. He comes back. He's um he's a little beaten up. He gets back. He's happy to be home. His son's happy to see him home. And oh, I forget who the kids. I forget who young Amethil is played by, or Amelith. But so he gets home. His wife's like, you know, we should, you know, you know, yeah. And he's like, nah, I need to talk to my son. So, uh, they have like, well, before that they have like a feast, and his brother comes, whose name is Fionor. I'm so terrible with names. The brotherless. Um, and he comes, and they all raise a toast to the king and his battles, and the king like gets his son ready to be a leader, gets his son ready to take his place if he gets killed because he got a really serious wound, and to avenge his death should something happen. So it's almost like Ethan Hawke's character, King Ard Ardvinel or whatever, um, is knows something's gonna happen and is preparing for it. So they go to William Defoe's tent, and William Defoe plays Haramir or Hymir the Fool, which is the sage or whatever you want to call him at the time. And this part's kind of weird. So they go into this like hall kind of thing, like house, tent, whatever. And they kind of like walk on all fours like dogs, and they kind of act like dogs. And Amleth's the pup, while the king is of course full grown dog, and they act like dogs, they eat like dogs, they eat out of the thing. And then this is where the pretty much the saying that goes on the entire movie happens, where he swears that he will always avenge his father no matter what, and he makes this oath that if something should happen, he will avenge his father at any cost. So they take this, I'm guessing it's drugs. I don't know what it is, but they're flying by the end of it. It's drugs. It's drugs. Um and so they come down, he's taken the oath, his father's, ready, to super happy that he gave his son this thing, and super happy that just to with his boy. He loves his son. Like, you tell he loves his son. So they walk out and they get ambushed. The dad takes a bunch of arrows, and at the end you find out it's the uncle, the king's brother, has decided to kill the king and take his lands. So uh the king, tells him, like, you're worthless, you're, piece of garbage for doing this. And then he cuts off the king's head. Takes him twice. He can't do it in one shot. It takes him 2 times. It takes him 2 or 3 times. I think it's two, though. And at the time I'm like, dude, you can't even cut off the head, right? What's wrong with you? Um yeah, I understand that. That's probably super hard. I don't think they cut off a head very easily. But yeah. So he kills the king, and the kid runs, and he gets to a boat. He makes it out. Uh, uh, Fulnir, Fulnir. That's how you say it. You don't use the J. Fulnir starts, killing all the people that were for the king. Kills them all. And while this is happening, Amleth manages to escape. So he gets out. And while he's getting out, he is constantly saying this saying, I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother. I will kill you, Fulnir. And he says that, and that's like his oath, is what he's doing. That's what he's going to do. He's going to do this. So, cut forward years later. I can't remember if it's 10 or 20 years. It's one of those two. Um, Cut to years later. You see a grown uh, Aelith. I don't think there's an M. See a grown you see him grown. He's on a raiding party. He's not leading the raiding party, but he is one of their warriors. And they're about to attack a town. So they go to attack this town, and they kick the shit out of it. At one point, Aelith catches a spear in midair and throws it back at the Slavs. So it's a Slavic town, and they like they raid this thing, and it's pretty cool. Somebody throws a spear at him, he catches it, and he just fucking tosses it back. It's crazy. Um, so like stuff like that, super cool, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. Like, you know, we're gonna get some cool stuff. Like, uh, and so they get it done, and then he hears that the people in the town that they're going to sell as slaves are going to his uncle, Volnir. And so he hears this and he's like, Volnir, where is that? Like, where is he? So he finds out that he lost his kingdom to somebody else. He left to, like, I forget where he went. He went somewhere else other than where they were. He moved to another I'm gonna say, hold on. I want to say, that he moved to a different, like, country. Iceland, yeah. So he became a sheep farmer in Iceland. So Fulnir is no longer a king; he's a sheep farmer. And so Aelith, hearing this, or Aimlith, hearing this, decides, I'm gonna chop off my hair. I'm gonna look like a different person, and I'm gonna go and kill this dude. So he decides that he's gonna take his vengeance and go across the sea to Iceland. So while he's on his trip to Iceland, he meets Olga of the birch forest. Okay, Olga is supposedly a witch, and he kind of befriends her at first, and she kind of, you know, she knows that he's not one of them, that he's not Slop, that he's someone else, that he's one of the Vikings. And so they make this journey. They get to um Iceland, to the farm, and Fulnir doesn't recognize Aimleth. And at this time you see that Fulnir has now married um Queen Gudrun, which is the mother of Aimleth, and they have a son together, a little boy, who is kind of a butthole. Um, a lot of a butthole. And so he gets put to work because he's strong, and Olga gets put into the kitchens. And she knows that, I can't remember if he told her at this point that he was gonna do what he's gonna do. I think it's after that. And so the first night he sneaks out, he goes to uh uh spiritual person, I forget who they are, and I think it's like the shaman for King Folnir. And so he talks to this guy, and this guy has the head of Hymir, who was killed by Folnir. And so he talks to the head. He facilitates. They take more drugs. They take more drugs. More drugs. Okay. And he talks to the head of Hymir. And Hymir tells him, like, you need to go get your revenge. You have to find this sword that's gonna um help you kill Fulnir at the gates of hell. And so Almith he goes to the gates of hell. Which hell, Hel, not hell, Hell. And he gets a sword fighting an undead mountain dweller. So this part, kind of cool. Um, and it seems like his revenge is near, but he waits. He waits. He wants to get their trust. He wants to get in with the family. So eventually, Folnir has a celebration. They go to play this game against another farm called Natilgir. I fucking said that wrong, and I'm sorry to anybody who watches this that's from wherever this language is. Mainly my friends, probably Carolina. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. Um, so they're doing this game after he gets a sword. He gets out, he hides the sword, and then the next day they like go to this thing. And also I think at the same time, I think it's then that he sees Olga getting like almost you know the Folnir's coming on to her, and she's like, I am not having it. And this is where like it's kind of gross, but he tries to get with her. She's not having it, and she puts the blood from her on his face, and then he like walks away. And so Aimless sees this. He kind of just he didn't do anything about it yet because, like I said, he's biding his time to kill Folnir. So the next day, they go to this trip to another farm. They play this game. The little boy son has like a fucking meltdown because they're not winning, and then tries to run into the game. and make a point for their farm, in which he gets hit by a really big guy and almost dies. So Aimlith comes and saves him and beats the crap out of the guy. And thus he gets in with the family. So we cut to him. He's now the leader of like the farm and like of the other slaves, and he's telling them what to do. And he's in with the family. So that's when him and Olga, who are now really good friends and start to fall in love, decide they're going to get revenge. She's going to help him get his revenge. So they start doing all these different things to to um to to make Folnir freak out, basically. Also, they make love. They're together. He gets When he gets his duties, he also gets her. Like that's his reward, is he gets to choose any woman he wants. And he chooses her. And she chooses him. It wasn't like he's like, oh my gosh, I you have to get with me. Um so they start their revenge stuff. They use at one point Olga mixes food with fly agaric hallucinogen, and then it like makes people think that they're getting attacked, so they start attacking each other. Um and they do a couple other things. He kills some people. He kills a priest and like ties up the priestess. So like they think that like some evil is on them and that they're being punished for something. And and so he eventually goes and reveals himself to his mom. And she basically tells him, so here's where the big reveal is, okay? Here's where it all happens. And what is it? So you find out that the coup was all facilitated by the mom. She was not in love with the king. The king had his way with her without her consent, which is not good. And her son's birth, Aimlith, was of that, and she did not love him and didn't want him. So she loved Folnir, and Folnir helped her kill his brother. But at the same time, there's a point where the queen like is like, "You should kill Folnir and all my family, and then we can rule." So it's not very. I'm not very sure about like what her like real thoughts were, but she was not good, and she tells him like, it's I'm glad he's dead. This is and he's just distraught. He had this whole revenge thing because he thought he was saving his mother, and he's not. She doesn't care. She hates him. And so that causes a chain of events at which he kills the son of them, the older son of Folnir, which is not her son, but it's Folnir's son. And he has to run away because he killed them. And she reveals that it's him. And so he, Folnir, decides he's going to wait till someone gives him, uh, after someone gives him, what who helped him, because he couldn't have done it on his own. So he's like, you need to tell me who helped him. I need to know. And to Olga reveals herself to be the one who helped him. And so they're going to kill Olga, and Aimlith, loving her, decides he can't have that happen. So he comes back and he stops it. He says, "I'll give you me. I'll give myself up, but you need to let her go." So they capture him, They beat the crap out of him, and and they tie him up and they're gonna kill him. And at this point, like he's Fulnir's done. He's like, I'm gonna kill this fool. Like this ridiculous. Get what you can out of him, and we're done. He's dead. So he's beat up. He's waiting in the chair for pretty much. You think this is gonna be it. This is the end, but you forget his path of vengeance is righteous in the gods' eyes. So Odin, sending ravens, comes and frees him, and he runs. Him and Olga leave. He finally feels like he's satisfied. He doesn't need the revenge. His mother never wanted him, so why should he be getting revenge? I made the joke to my girlfriend. I was like, basically, the reveal of this movie is revenge was because of a cuckold. It's the dad. The dad's brother was doing his wife, and wanted his wife, so he killed the dad. Like, yeah. So yeah, it was that. It was like whatever for me. Like the implications that the king was not a good man. We knew that at this time. There weren't everybody in Old Norse and stuff, like they weren't doing good things. So Aimlith and Olga, they run. He's Aimlith says he has some kinsmen on Orkney Islands, and they decide that they're going to take a ship and they're going to leave. So they get on a ship, they convince the captain to go to these islands, in which Olga and him like share a kiss. When they share this kiss, he sees vision, and the vision shows him that she's pregnant with his two kids. He knows that if he doesn't kill Fulnir will come after his children. And he was told at a point that one day he'll have to choose between his family and his revenge. And he decides to choose both. He decides to kill Fulnir, not out of vengeance, not out of wanting to kill him for his father, but to kill him to protect his future family. Because his kids will be royal kings. So, well, his kids won't be. One of them will be the maiden king prophesied by the seeress. So Olga asks him, "Don't go. Like, stay with me. We can figure this out." And he decides, "No, that I have to protect our family." So he jumps in to the water to swim back to shore. Her screaming the whole time, you know, and he goes back to the farm. And this is where the climax starts, where the finish of the movie starts. So he goes to the farm. Olga tells the oarsman, like, take me to where he said. And he goes back to the farm and he frees all the slaves. Frees them. And then tells them, like, you can do what you want and kill him Fulnir. And so they start burning the place down. He starts killing all Fulnir's guards. He starts fighting everybody. And then he goes in to find Fulnir in where his house is, but Fulnir's not there. His mom and his technically little half brother is, and his mom jumps out of the closet and stabs him in the back, or not stabs. No, she tries to cut him, and he kills her. Not meaning to. He didn't really want to, but he did. He killed her, and at that point, the little half brother jumps out and starts stabbing him back. He like throws him off or wherever. He kills him too, and then Fulnir's there. So he is now taking everything from Fulnir. Fulnir's pissed. And he's like, meet me at the gates of hell and we'll finish this. So they decide to meet. They meet in a crater of the volcano Hekla. and engage in a fierce home game. So this fight seems pretty cool. They're both like pretty much naked. They're fighting. Fulnir's definitely the better fighter, 100%. Like Fulnir's definitely the more experienced fighter, not better. He's more experienced. So at first, he's winning. It seems like he's winning this fight. They fight for a while. They're both sweaty, and eventually, as um, Fulnir gets a finishing blow, so does Aimlith. Aimlith chops his head off, while Fulnir stabs him critically. Like, there's no way that he's living through this. So, as he falls and gets his revenge and has protected his family, he sees a vision of Olga and his 2 children, and she says they're safe. And he dies. And then it shows a Valkyrie that carries him through the gates of Valhalla. And that's where the story ends. It was good. It was a good movie. And talking about it now, it was a good movie. It was worth the money I paid for it. Not everybody's going to like this movie. Not everybody's going to think. I still think that the path of vengeance leading him to, oh, his dad was, not a good guy. Like, that's whatever. But the actors were great. The story itself wasn't bad. The end fight scene was good. I wish he would have gone with her. I wish he would not have gone back. But I get why he did. And the story itself is very in depth. So, yeah. It was a good story. And I hope you enjoy it. If you watch it, let me know what you think of this movie. Leave a comment, let me know. And thank you for watching episode 2 of Tiredsammich's solo reviews. Hopefully this one's a little bit better than the first one. I know I kind of say a lot. Try not to do that. but yeah. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe or leave a comment. Just let me know, what you think, what I can do better. And yeah. I hope you have a good day. Bear hug.